This is Good Morning San Diego.
Coming up, California's ethnic studies curriculum.
We're going to chat with educator Mark Powell about some recent changes to the curriculum and more when Good Morning San Diego returns. California revised its ethnic studies curriculum. We're joined with educator Mark Powell to talk more about it. Good morning, Mr. Powell.
Good morning. How are you, Paul?
All right, broad stroke it for us, please.
California is adopting an ethnic study curriculum that's going to be mandated for graduation for high school seniors. And essentially, some people and groups are being left out of this draft. Even though they're going in the right direction, there still needs to be some inclusion for some people.
Well, I mean, that's going to be a problem because if you include X, Y, and Z but leave out W, W is going to be upset and going to ask why are they not part of the curriculum.
Okay, and that's exactly correct. First, let me just preface this by I'm not representing any group. I'm not representing the County Board of Education on this. But if you look at the Asian American aspect of this curriculum, that's where they put all Arabs in there. Yet they're not really touching upon a lot of the people that we have in San Diego from the Mideast, which would be, let's say, our Persian community, our Chaldean Catholic community, our Sephardic Jewish community. All of these different groups that would all fall under the Mideastern section of the curriculum are not being identified, and each have a very unique story to tell.
I applaud the effort, though, in the sense that we're a diverse community and we want to learn about one another, right? I mean, you're on board with that end of it, I assume.
100%. Ethnic studies is long overdue, and the fact that it's mandated as a requirement for graduation is not an issue. However, there are some issues with doing it right now during a pandemic. If you notice, our kids are doing distance learning, and there's a lot going on about how much education they're going to lose within the next, 6 months to a year. Who knows how long this is going to last? What I would say is maybe not implement this right away. Maybe let's get together and start working on getting our students up to speed. It would be a shame to make this a graduation requirement and have kids not graduate because they missed out on a year of study due to this COVID-19 crisis that we're in.
Well, make me understand that again. So we're going to miss, I don't know, I've seen estimates of 1,000 hours worth of in-person education by the time, assuming we're even back in school, say in September or October. Kids that have grew up during this period are going to lose 1,000 hours of in-person education. Why can't ethnic studies be part of the online program? Because you think the other courses, the math and the science, those we should be focusing on those? Is that your argument?
Well, what I'm saying is if it's going to be a graduation requirement, and you know that there's certain populations of students that they're not connected, or they have limited connectivity to the internet and to access to these classes, why the rush? Why not postpone this until we go back into regular education, regular in-school education, and let's discuss this a little bit more. Look, if you talk to some of these people who came from the Mideast, you'll find out just how unique their experiences are. It's amazing if you find out what went on with Saddam Hussein or what happened in Persia when the Shah fell. These groups of people came to the United States. They're here in San Diego. They're among us. We need to make sure that they are not excluded from the curriculum. They need to be part of the curriculum.
Mark, it's funny we're talking about this as a graduation requirement because I think it was the Washington Post over the weekend. I was reading about how Arizona is making a citizenship test a requirement for graduating students. Would you be opposed to something like that as well, if we're going to make mandatory requirements for our high school kids?
Well, there are already mandatory requirements for kids to graduate. They have to take a certain number of classes and have a certain number of units. And we all know that requirements for them to move on to go to college and play sports in college. What Arizona is doing is they're requiring their students to pass, or I guess they're putting this in motion, to pass the same test that you have to pass to become a citizen of the United States. Now, we take a look at that. It's already been attempted here, having students pass something called the high school exit exam. However, that was pulled, and I'm not sure if there's ever going to be one single test that's going to be a requirement for a graduation from high school.
Well, Mark, I apologize for getting us off course there. I appreciate you making time, and we'll talk about this again as the debate goes on, right?
Yeah, well, we're kind of running out of time. So if people want to get involved, they need to make their voices heard at the California Department of Education. Every group that is not being represented needs to get out there, take a look at the website of the Department of Education, and get involved. Make sure that they're being represented in this draft ethnic studies curriculum.
All right, Mr. Powell, as always, we appreciate your time here on KUSI.